Watching an expert at work is a fantastic way to learn new skills. In this lesson, we're going to deconstruct a text called A Sound of Thunder and look at the skills the writer has used. So let's dive into some extracts from Ray Bradbury's short story, A Sound of Thunder. Just to put the story into context, it's a science fiction piece where people travel in a time machine to hunt a dinosaur, specifically a T-Rex. The jungle was wide and full of twitterings, rustlings, murmurs and sighs. Suddenly, it all ceased, as if someone had shut a door. Silence. Sound of thunder. Out of the mist, 100 yards away came Tyrannosaurus Rex. There's a lot going on in this opening. First of all, the writer gives a visual reference. The jungle was wide. Then he uses auditory imagery, full of twitterings, rustlings, murmurs and sighs to add to the realism. Jungles aren't quiet places until the writer uses a very simple simile. Suddenly it all ceased, as if someone had shut a door. The writer then uses a single paragraph word, silence. See how it's indented? This draws attention to the word and builds tension. Think for a moment. Why would silence build tension? Because there's a predator coming. The writer uses a metaphor, a sound of thunder, to describe the power of the dinosaur, comparing it with a thunderstorm. He then uses a simple descriptive sentence. Out of the mist, 100 yards away, came Tyrannosaurus Rex. The next section focuses on a detailed description of the T-Rex. While I am reading it, see if you can recognise any literary devices the writer has used. It came on great, oiled, resilient, striding legs. It towered 30 feet above half of the trees, a great evil god, folding its delicate watchmaker's claws close to its oily reptilian chest. Each lower leg was a piston, 1,000 pounds of white bone sunk in thick ropes of muscle and sheathed over in a gleam of pebble skin, like the mail of a terrible warrior. Each thigh was a ton of meat, ivory and steel mesh. And from the great breathing cage of the upper body, those two delicate arms dangled out in front, arms with hands which might pick up and examine men like toys, while the snake neck coiled, and the head itself, a ton of sculptured stone, lifted easily upon the sky. Its mouth gaped, exposing a fence of teeth like daggers. Its eyes rolled ostrich eggs, empty of all expression save hunger. It closed its mouth in a death grin. It ran, its pelvic bones crushing aside trees and bushes, its taloned feet clawing damp earth, leaving prints 6 inches deep wherever it settled its weight. It ran with a gliding ballet step, far too poised and balanced for its 10 tons. It moved into the sunlight arena warily, its beautifully reptile hands feeling the air. How did you get on? Did you spot any similes and metaphors? Let's look at the metaphors first. Great evil god, delicate watchmaker claws, each lower leg was a piston, thick ropes of muscle, pebbled skin, steel mesh, breathing cage, snake neck, a ton of sculptured stone, offensive teeth, ostrich eggs describing his eyes, a death grin, a gliding ballet step. Notice, with all of these metaphors, we get a sense of power, but there is also delicateness and vulnerability. Now let's take a look at the similes. Skin is like the mail of a terrible warrior, arms which might pick up and examine men like toys, teeth like daggers. What I particularly like is the way Bradbury has combined metaphor and simile to create a really unique comparison. For example, offensive teeth like daggers. Here, the fence of teeth is the metaphor and like daggers is the simile. Bradbury also uses triplets to give rhythm and emphasis. For example, it came on great oiled, resilient, striding legs. Here, he uses 3 adjectives. He also does something similar with 3 nouns in it was a ton of meat, ivory and steel mesh. The next thing Bradbury does is to use a zoom lens to provide unique detail to the reader. You may often find your teacher asking you to do this. Here is a really good example. The tyrant lizard raised itself. Its armoured flesh glittered like 1,000 green coins. The coins, crusted with slime, steamed. In the slime, tiny insects wriggled, so the entire body seemed to twitch and undulate, even while the monster itself did not move. Let's break this down. Firstly, we get an image of the dinosaur's skin. Its armoured flesh glittered like 1,000 green coins. Bradbury then zooms in further with the coins, crusted with slime, steamed. Then he goes even further. In the slime, tiny insects wriggled. The writer then pulls back the focus, so we get an overall picture of the effect of this. So the entire body seemed to twitch and undulate, even while the monster itself. In this next section, we are going to look at how Bradbury used sentence structure to create different effects. Here, for context, the dinosaur has been shot by the hunters. Again, as I am reading, see if you can spot any interesting uses of sentences or why Bradbury used the sentences he did. Like a stone idol, like a mountain avalanche, Tyrannosaurus fell. Thundering, it clutched trees and pulled them with it. It wrenched and tore the metal path. The men flung themselves back and away. The body hit 10 tons of cold flesh and stone. The guns fired. The monster lashed its armoured tail, twitched its snake jaw, and lay still. A fount of blood spurted from its throat. Somewhere inside, a sack of fluids burst. Sickening gushers drenched the hunters. They stood, red and glistening. The thunder faded. The jungle was silent. After the avalanche, a green peace. After the nightmare, morning. Here, Bradbury starts halfway through a simile, twice in fact. Like a stone idol, like a mountain avalanche, Tyrannosaurus fell. This is really effective and a good trick you could use in your exam. Next, he begins a sentence with a verb. Thundering, it clutched trees, pulled them with it, and wrenched and tore the metal path. Next, he uses compound sentences. The men flung themselves back and away. The body hit 10 tons of cold flesh and stone. The monster lashed its armoured tail, twitched its snake jaw, and lay still. They stood red and glistening. The simpleness of the expression adds pace, especially when combined with short, simple sentences. The guns fired, a fount of blood spurted from its throat. Somewhere inside, a sack of fluids burst. Sickening gushers drenched the hunters. The thunder faded, the jungle was silent. The use of monosyllables also adds pace when thrown into this mix. The men flung themselves back and away. The body hit 10 tons of cold flesh and stone. The guns fired. The monster lashed its armoured tail, twixt its snake jaw and lay still. A fount of blood spurted from its throat. Somewhere inside, a sack of fluids burst. And also, the use of monosyllables adds a harsh tone that mirrors the brutality of the T-Rex's death. Finally, we have a cyclical structure. Remember, a cyclical structure starts and ends in the same place. The piece opens with silence. Suddenly all ceased, as if someone had shut a door. Silence. And finishes with quiet. The jungle was silent. After the avalanche, a green peace. After the nightmare, morning. So let's recap. In this lesson, we've seen how Bradbury uses the senses to set the scene, uses a range of simile and metaphor, sometimes combining them to create unique comparisons, uses triplets for pace and emphasis, and zooms in on unique detail, uses a range of sentence structures, and uses a cyclical structure. Remember, you too can use any of these ideas in your own writing to get an even higher mark in your examination. Bye for now.